The Adventures of Grandma and Grandson, A Journey to the Village. One day, Grandma and her grandson Labib sat on the porch, watching the sunset. Grandma turned to Labib and said, "Labib, you know, when I was a little girl, I used to live in a village just like this one. It was the most beautiful place in the world, and I have so many happy memories there." Labib looked up at Grandma and said, "Can we go visit that village, Grandma?" Grandma smiled and said, "Of course we can, my dear. We'll go on an adventure together." The next day, Grandma and Labib packed their bags and set out on their journey to the village. As they drove through the countryside, Labib was amazed by the beautiful scenery. They saw fields of sunflowers, rolling hills, and small villages along the way. Labib couldn't stop asking questions and pointing out things he saw. Grandma laughed and told him stories about her own adventures as a child. They arrive at the village and are greeted by Grandma's childhood friend, Mrs. Sophia. She welcomes them warmly and invites them to her house for dinner. Grandma and Mrs. Sophia talked and laughed for hours about their childhood and everything that had happened since then. Labib was enjoying their conversations. The next day, Grandma and Labib on a tour of the village. They visited the market, the temple, and the old fort. Labib was fascinated by everything he saw. He loved the colorful saris in the market, the intricate designs on the temple walls, and the stories of battles fought at the fort. While exploring the fort, Labib discovered a secret passage. He convinced Grandma to follow him through the passage. As they walked through the dark and narrow passage, Labib's heart raced with excitement. Finally, they emerged into a hidden garden, filled with beautiful flowers. Grandma was overjoyed to see that the garden was still there after all these years. She had spent many happy hours in this very spot as a child. Labib ran around, exploring every inch of the garden. He plucked a flower and gave it to Grandma, who smiled and thanked him. As they sat in the garden, enjoying the peaceful surroundings, Labib asked Grandma about her childhood in the village. Grandma told him about her friends, her school, and all the fun she had. She even taught him a few words in the local language, which made him laugh. Grandma and Labib said goodbye to Mrs. Sophia and others, promising to come back again soon. Grandma told Labib that she was grateful for the opportunity to share her memories with him. Labib smiled and said, "I'm grateful too, Grandma. I loved hearing your stories and going on this adventure with you." When they arrived home, Grandma took out a photo album and showed Labib pictures of her childhood in the village. They spent the rest of the evening looking at old pictures and talking about their favorite moments from their trip. Labib fell asleep that night with a smile on his face, dreaming of the adventures he and Grandma would have next.